Okay, we're going to be talking about types of reliability. First type of reliability we're going to talk about is called test-retest. This is when you give the same measure to a person 2 times on separate occasions. And the scores should be related to each other. If they are related to each other, it means they are reliable. And this is measured with the correlation coefficient R between -1 and 1. The second type of reliability we're going to talk about is inter-item reliability. Is there consistency between the items and the total score? So this is like when you have multiple items measuring the same variable. And this is measured with Cronbach's alpha. And you usually want at least a 0.7, if not higher. But it's on a scale between 0 and 1. Higher values mean better reliability. So let's look at this. So it has all sorts of items. I am sad. I am important to my family. I feel cranky all the time. Problem with these questions is that they're probably not all that related to each other. And so they would not have inter-item reliability. Now, I feel sad and I feel lonely. They might have a lot in common with each other, but this is not a really good scale. A better scale would be if I had I am sad, I feel lonely, but then also like I feel depressed, things like that. Because then that would measure depression and those items would be related to each other. Okay, the third kind of reliability, inter-rater. This is when you have multiple people rating something and you want them to agree with each other. You don't want one person to say one thing and the other person to say the opposite, because then what can you say about what you're observing? So like if a child makes a noise and one person calls it crying and another person calls it laughing, that's a problem. You would hope that they would all agree that the child is either laughing or crying, but agreement. And Cohen's kappa is used to measure this. It's measured on a scale of between 0 and 1, and you want at least a 0.7, if not higher. Higher scores represent higher reliability. Okay. Fourth kind, alternate form. Is there consistency between forms of the test? So I took the ACT 4 times, and I never got the same exact test in any of those times that I took the ACT. But all those tests were still the ACT test. And you know, my scores, they stayed around the same. So that was alternate form reliability, that even though it was an alternate form of the test, it was still the same test. And this is measured with the correlation coefficient. You want the tests to be correlated with each other in scores. Okay, so the problem with error is that the more error you have, the harder it is to detect a correlation, even if it is there. So measurement error dilutes correlation, which is bad. You want a correlation to be as strong as possible, and if you have a lot of error, it's going to be weak, very, very weak, or maybe you won't even find a correlation, even if there is one. Okay, so here are some examples. Disciplinary style scores was an alpha of 0.73 for mothers and an alpha of 0.78 for fathers. So the alpha, that's that's for inter-item reliability. Remember, let's go back. Cronbach's alpha. So you were looking at an alpha. Looks like a strange little A. So alphas are for Cronbach's alpha inter-item reliability. Down here we have kappa equals 0.85. So they were assessing inter-rater reliability. So kappa, Cohen's kappa is for inter-rater, and Cronbach's alpha is for inter-item. And that's the different types of reliability.